So good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Crones of Consciousness, Nurturing Spiritual Health. We are the Soul Sisters, and there are 3 out of the 5 here this evening, and we are going to be discussing with you what spiritual health is, well, how you can tell if it's out of line, and of course, what to do to bring it back into balance. So this evening, we have Catherine Grace Wager of Studio Grace, and Lorraine Bennett of the Points Natural, and myself, Reverend Janice Chrysler of Mindful Journey. So again, thank you for joining us in this celebration of International Women's Day, a time when we come together and honor those women who have influenced our lives. And just by your presence here tonight shows that we are a strong force to be reckoned with. So let us begin. So the first thing we need to look at tonight then is, what is spiritual health? And I invite you to ask yourself that. You probably have, or you wouldn't have signed up for this class tonight. So, but we're going to go and give you our definitions of what we feel spiritual health is. And then, as I said, I invite you to, how would you answer that question if someone were to ask you? So I'd like to start first with Lorraine. How would you define spiritual health?
All right, thank you, Janice, and thank you for everyone that's come to this event. It really means a lot to us. This is what we all do in our daily lives. I'm sure that most of you here have different spiritual practices that you observe. So I'm just going to touch a little bit on just for what it means to me personally. And spiritual health for me is not something that's set in stone. It's something that's constantly changing and morphing depending on my age, my life circumstances. But the health part of it to me is where I can reach a point where I feel that I'm connected, not only just to something that is spirit to me, and that could be many different things, but also connected to this earth, with my family, with my friends, because when my spiritual health is not where it should be, I'm not connecting. And so spiritual health, the opposite of being unhealthy, is just making sure that you're coming from a place where you feel you're in control, that you're feeling hopeful, and but mostly just being connected to everything. Everything is alive, and through spiritual health, I think one has a chance to begin to recognize that it's not just maybe gurus or people that we emulate that resonate with us. It gets down to things like the animals, the rocks, the earth that we walk on. All those things have spirit. So when you have a healthy outlook on spirit, those things become a lot more clear. I think spiritual health is also when you get to a point where you're not feeling guilty or that you should be hiding your practice, that it is something that resonates from your heart, that you feel that you can respect yourself because you've taken the time to delve in and find out what is most important to you in that connection. So it's with spiritual health, it also balances so many different things in our bodies too, our body, our minds, how we relate each day. So when we're going to be talking later about what happens when that doesn't balance. But for me, those things are important. It's removing filters that we've learned in our lifetimes. Sometimes when we come into this world, we are taking on information that we've gained from our grandparents, our mothers, our aunts, anyone that has influence on us. And sometimes as we grow older, those layers of influence sort of dull who we are as individuals. And so sometimes through spiritual practice, it takes a time to find that that essence that's within you, and it really does come from what you're feeling in your heart. And when that's starting to feel full and fulfilled, then we know that we're on the right path. Um, Spiritual health is also a very unique thing. So what I'm practicing may not even resonate with you at all. So we're all delving into different things. It could be, religious aspects of spirituality. It could be an indigenous practice. It could be crystals, all those kinds of things. But it will be unique to you. And the health part of it is where you feel comfortable, that you don't, it doesn't matter what other people are thinking about your spiritual practice, that you are treating yourself with respect. You're not pushing yourself on other people. You get to a point where you feel very grounded in your spiritual health. So it's coming closer to your true essence of who you are. So it might take years to be able to find that, but just the more we practice, the more we start to get to that place where, yeah, that feels right to me. There's something that resonates with that, and it feels good. And it might not necessarily be with you forever. You might switch gears too. As we find, we're constantly learning new ways to look after ourselves. And sometimes we're tested by outside influences, social connection, social media. It might, when the health part of it comes in where you are feeling good. So sometimes we need to step away from influences that might not be for our better good. So for me, the spiritual health aspect just comes down to at the end of the day, when you sit down and you put your hand on your heart, you know that you're where you should be. You're feeling the way you want to be feeling, and that it matters. So that's where that's spiritual health for me. That's very important. Thank you.
Thanks, Lorraine. Okay, Catherine, I turn it over to you. What would you say spiritual health means to you?
Thank you, Lorraine. That was amazing. And I'm just going to say ditto on everything Lorraine said. For me, spiritual health is knowing that we are one with the universe. It's all one. We are not separate beings. We are not one grain of sand. We are a beach. And without those other grains of sand to make up the beach, we would fall. That's my analogy for understanding the energy of the oneness of the universe. Our souls, our spirits are here to learn things. And we can't be beating ourselves up for things that we did wrong because they were lessons. For me, the most important thing is knowing that we are in control of how we allow our soul to interact with our higher power, with the universe, whatever you believe that your higher power is, with the universal energy, with the oneness. We can turn ourselves off from it, from our higher power, from the universal energy, and then we feel really unhealthy. There's things that are not right with us. We're feeling very discontented. Or we can open ourselves up to what we can listen to, what we can learn from it. Or we can simply go with the flow, which is really healthy too, because really life is a flow. It's like a river, and Lorraine just likened us to being a part of the entire earth, the water, the air, fire. And yeah, spiritual health is just simply knowing that you're not in control, something else is, and just have faith and go with the flow and learn. Janice, back to you.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Catherine. It's always nice going last because everybody else has pretty much said it all, right? So,
Yeah, I know.
yeah. But as you know me, I always have something to say. So here we go. So to me, spiritual health is just like Catherine and Lorraine have already said, but I'll just say it goes deeper than our emotions and body, but to the very core of who we are. Call it your spirit, your soul. By being mindful of our spiritual well-being and making sure it's not ignored, I feel we have a strong foothold in maintaining overall good health, both mentally and physically. If one is out of balance, they all fall. And quite often it does all go back to the core, which is our spiritual health. It seems to be the one that most will ignore or think it's something out here to deal with. I feel spiritual health is about being energetically well. So again, it's that, as what's already been said here, is I feel like we are energy. We are, if you're a scientific mind, it's scientifically proven that our body is composed of energy. Every cell has a vibration. Everything around us has a vibration. The rocks, the dirt, we are no more above any of that, but we are connected to it all. We are connected to one another. I believe that within each one of us and each living thing and everything that is created, that spirit exists there. And I say spirit with a capital S. The creator, the consciousness, God, if you will, is within each and every one of us and everything. So that's what the word namaste means. It's the God in me recognizes the God in you. And if we are to remember that, then where would hate have a place? Where would judgment have a place? The thing is, we all have that within us, but the part of us, part of our journey is to remember that connection, we have free will, whether we choose to walk in that light, if you will, and to open up our intuition, to be connected to it all, to understand it all. And you know what? We never will have all the answers. But I think part of our spiritual health is that journey to be able to ask questions, to hear answers, what is true to us, to then have the courage to follow that truth and be okay if you got to change routes. I mean, I've changed a few. I'm doing things now that I would never have thought I would do, mainly because I didn't know about a lot of it, but also that I didn't feel was right. And you know what? It's okay. It wasn't right for me when I was 20 and 30 years old, because I had to learn things to get to where I am now. And that's why I take great glory in being a crone, because that's what crones are to do, is to share what they learn with other people. What good is knowledge if you don't share it? So that's what I'm hoping some of you will do afterwards this evening too, is maybe share some of yours if you feel open to that. So maintaining our spiritual health, I feel, should be the top priority, because if we're spiritually well, then no matter what happens to us, inside we know we have that anchor that we can hold on to, that everything will work out. As my mom used to say, this too shall pass, because we keep moving forward, right? So I'm really looking forward to talking tonight about all the things to do with our spiritual health, which now takes us to the second question. And I'm going to put it back over to Lorraine here, is how do you know when your spiritual health is amiss, and what happens when we don't look after it?
Okay, I get the cheery part. It's not to be a downer, and then I do have a long list. But I think we're all women of an age, I believe, that we have managed to survive a lot of different life experiences, and we're here. But when spiritual health is being compromised, we feel it in so many different ways. I'm so thankful to have so many wonderful women, friends and family where we can chat about these things, but not everybody has that connection. But when there is when your spiritual health is lacking, it's dull, it's also a reflection of how you go about just your physical day sometimes, just being unbalanced, not you're not being connected to yourself, knowing yourself, but you're not connecting totally with other people in a healthy way. There's a lot of emotions that get stirred up when we aren't recognizing our spiritual health, and through, we could be experiencing sadness, depression, tears come easily. We may feel unmotivated, tired all the time, lack vitality. And then in return, often our sleep becomes disturbed. We get headaches, stomach upsets, a feeling of floundering, that you're just not connected here on earth for some reason. You're just not feeling grounded. And often when your spiritual health is at risk, or being strained, relationships with others begin to kind of break down. People tend to isolate more, not wanting to be with others, not looking after yourself in a healthy way. It can be a result of not expressing yourself or looking into what you need spiritually. Sometimes we turn to food or alcohol or drugs or sex or just unhealthy relationships that just we're dulling things, that we're not taking the time that we need to go and explore. And because once spiritual health becomes vital within you, all these different layers start to fall away, so that you're beginning to have healthier relationships, you're feeling better, and physically, mentally, it just, all those things start to become more in balance. So I've probably covered a lot of them, so I won't. I'll pass this on to I believe Catherine. You might want to add to that list.
Yes, Catherine, it's your turn.
Everything that Lorraine just said, you're right. Coming second is a little difficult. I know that when I am not spiritually healthy or connected with my spirit, and that happens periodically, especially during COVID and when we're isolated, we tend, and I'm gonna talk about me on this because maybe someone else can actually relate. Um, it's very simple to slide away from your spiritual practices and from taking care of your spiritual health. For me, I find that I get sad. And I'm not one that tends to experience loneliness, but I do start to feel lonely. And I know there's a sign that I'm not, maybe I didn't do my prayers or my grateful list this morning, or I haven't done any spiritual practices. Um, Depressed, and these are all things that Lorraine mentioned too. I start to experience cravings, and not just for food, but that's a big one. I start cooking, man, just I can't, I know there's something I want, but I can't really put my finger on it. So I try everything. um, Eat too much, drink too much. Even though I don't drink, when I did drink, I would drink too much if I wasn't looking after my spiritual health. You start hanging with the wrong people, simply because you want company and you think that maybe they're the kind of people that will fill that hole that you're feeling. And that's what happens when you're not spiritually healthy. You feel like you've got a big hole inside of you, and you'll do anything to fill it. um, I start getting physical ailments, and mine comes out in my bones. I get sore bones. I'll throw my back will go out. I'll get a big pain in my hip, or I don't tend to get stomach aches or headaches, but my bones feel it. You just this total lazy unproductive, unfocused. You wander around going, why didn't I get anything done today? You know, and you'll start one project and kind of wander off and do something else because you're just not having fun with that, you know. Just a total feeling of unsatisfied um, urge. So yeah, really important for me, especially to stay spiritually healthy, because all those things are not nice to feel when you could feel happy and satisfied and peaceful and grateful. Back to you, Janice.
Thank you. And I'll be short because we do want to answer the next question and do our meditation here. Yeah, just all the things that they did mention here as well. I had down as well as that, like when we start to, so for example, be depressed, or well, I wouldn't even use that word. We just find ourselves that, like, I like what Catherine mentioned, that feels sadness. That's something that I can sometimes will feel that, because I'm usually pretty up person and very positive. And if I find myself, my brain going in that negative route, that's when I stop and ask myself, did I meditate the last day or two? Did I let other things get in my way? Have I been around a lot of negative people and I've taken on, that's them, not me? And so I need to revisit that. Sometimes it's because we're putting off addressing our spiritual health that we start to feel that way, that we start to hang out with the people that we shouldn't be. I shouldn't say shouldn't be, but that aren't the type that are uplifting to us and encouraging us. We do this subconsciously. We're almost like we're putting ourselves on route to failure. It's like we're allowing ourselves to ignore our own health. We'll have all kinds of excuses and reasons for it. But basically, it's just there's something we don't want to face. And I know myself, I went through that quite a few years ago when I was transitioning from one faith practice to another. And it was really, really hard. It took me 2.5 years to make the change because I didn't want to make the wrong decision. And it wasn't really a fear thing of like God was going to get me. It's just, it meant that much to me that I didn't want to go somewhere else. I guess I was afraid there was no going back. And part of me knew there was no going back once you know, and you start to move forward. And I just wasn't ready to make that change, but it was starting to affect me physically. Now looking back, I can see that's what triggered my fibromyalgia. That's what triggered a lot of other things that was going on in me emotionally, until finally I just did, I just said, okay, what is it I need to do? I got to trust, and I just do it. I felt like a weight had come off of me. It still wasn't that easy. I cried all day, but that was part of the release too. But I did just feel better, having accepted the fact that I needed to make a change. It was a spiritual change. It was for my spiritual health. And once I did that, the rest of me started to feel better. So it just shows how our mind, body, spirit is all connected. And so we really need to pay attention to it all. So with that, and knowing now all the signs that your spiritual health can be out of whack, we are going to look at what are some steps that can help us to heal in spirit. So Lorraine, I'm going to put it back to you.
Okay, thank you, Janice. The plan for this evening was to sort of share some of the things that we as individuals here do as not only our business, but practice regularly, and we feel strongly about. So I'm going to touch base on Reiki, use crystal energy therapy, angels, core shamanism, and exercise. So I'm not going to go deep into it, but I like that it's sort of a reflection of Janice's business name, Mindful Journey. And it's certainly, when one is exploring spiritual health, it is a journey. And for me, the journey began about 25 years ago, it's funny how spirit works, that you are introduced to people and situations that it's like spirit is saying, she's ready for this. And so in this instance, it was a chance to, someone was going to be going to a Reiki level 1 and 2 class. They couldn't make it. They suggested I would do it. Hadn't even thought about it, didn't know. I had to look it up. So that was where my spiritual journey began, really seriously, was learning about energy. And once I was training in Reiki, it really became clear that there was more to energy than meets the eye. I wanted to know more. So I was practicing and reading every book. And it's interesting, the synchronicity that happens when you are become curious and excited about spirit, that books come your way. You meet people that are like-minded, and it's like this community starts opening, and it's a very positive thing. And that's what I really enjoyed about learning about Reiki, is not only trusting that healing energy, the energy we all have. Reiki is universal life force energy. So learning that we can access something like that and give it to somebody else or use it for our own self-healing, that journey starts to begin with in so many wonderful ways. It allows us to open up. It allows us to heal. It broadens our perspective on things, and it just keeps building in very healthy ways. So it was about 20 years ago that I got my master level Reiki, because I like to teach. So a lot of my jobs involved doing workshops. So it just made sense. And I wanted to feel what it was like to take it another level. And that's another thing, is like, I was a busy single mom for many years, working full time. So I didn't always have the money or the time to be able to delve into spiritual practice. So this is when my kids had already graduated. So I was very thankful that I was always wanting to do this, but never could. So now it was my turn to fill that lack that we talked about in the last discussion, about when you feel your spiritual health is lacking. So Reiki just allowed not only to heal myself physically, to be able to share that with other people and start trusting that the stuff that I was reading in books and all these wonderful authors that talk about energy and spirituality, that these things happen when you allow them to, that you don't question yourself. When you have a voice that says, I should be putting my hands here, you do that because that is the right thing. But that takes a while. It was interesting. I guess men are like that too, but mostly women, we question, we doubt, we become a little bit nervous about our capabilities. So it's interesting when you start allowing spiritual practices to do them on a daily basis, how much more confidence you gain, and how much more connection you get with learning about energies, feeling energies, sharing that. And in turn, it's just such a healthy way to be. Fast forward, I moved to Marmara from Vancouver Island about, I don't know, about 16 years ago, I guess. Janice Chrysler introduced herself. It was cute. I had a little sign. I didn't think anybody in Marmara, small town Marmara, would be doing Reiki. And I thought if I said Reiki, someone would think I had two heads. But I put a little sign up at the post office, hoping to get some clients. And I got a phone call, and here's Janice. She said, hi, I'm Janice Chrysler. I just want you to know I'm not the one that's taking your little sign down at the post office. I also do Reiki, and my signs get taken down too by someone that's out there that thinks that maybe we're doing voodoo. So Janice and I became good friends as a result of that. From Reiki, and I still practice Reiki self-heals, and I do distance healing a lot. And that's what I really appreciate about doing spiritual energy kind of stuff is that um, we don't have to be doing one-on-one, you know. So uh, lost my train of thought. COVID hit, and it was actually, there was a lot of blessings in having to be isolated and at home, and thank God for Zoom classes. And so I began learning about crystal energy healing, working with angels and angel guides, angel oracle card reading with Kyle Gray, based out of the UK. And it was amazing. I just, 2020 and 2021 flew by because I had my nose in books learning about how crystals can be used for healing, um, all kinds of things. It's, you know, crystal energy has been around for thousands and thousands of years, and there's so many different people that have channeled energy from them, so that there's so much good information out there that share what kinds of crystals do what, and all the different colors and what how they're associated with your chakras. And um, so that's the, once again, it's my spiritual healing and health has shifted once again. I got renewed energy and connections with different people. Working with angels was amazing. My husband and I have both been, we do transcendental meditation twice a day. I learned back in the 70s, as did he. And so we allot time twice a day to meditate. Lately, my meditations have included working with angels, and that has been really amazing. So on a spiritual health way, it's so comforting to know we all have a guardian angel that's been with us from past lives, right till we took our first breath on this planet. And there's so many different angel energies that are out there. So I don't know how many times in the last 3 years I've worked with angels on a spiritual level to uh, help myself, physical things, mental things, day-to-day problems, but also working with other people to assist them with healing in different ways. So it's been an amazing experience. In the last year and a half, I also had a chance to, I've done all my classes with the Foundation for Shamanic Studies. Just this past weekend, actually finished the last one. So that has taken the spirit level up even more. So if it's possible for me, and what I came to understand is that everything is alive. Everything has spirit. We can communicate with everything in an ordinary and non-ordinary reality. The shamanism that I'm doing is not appropriation. It's called core shamanism, which was developed by Michael Harner in the 60s, and Michael went all over the world and learned from shamans. So core shamanism is basic practices that are recognized all over the world, and then he's added to that. So we do journeys to the upper world, the lower world, the middle world. We work with spirit, and it's you know, just is so interesting to talk about our spiritual health today. I won't talk too much longer, Janice. I know you want to get going here, but just you know, just being thankful that we have access to all this information. We have each other we can discuss things with, we can share our skills, and knowing that, you know, as women, we're compassionate people, and so that any other women that we come in contact with, that are exploring different spiritual ideas, that it's safe to do so. We're so lucky to be in this time where we're not going to get burned at the stake. We're not going to be buried and thrown rocks at us. We're not going to be segregated because we have a different way of being, and it's I think I'm very thankful and feel very empowered to be able to explore that and feel I'm safe in doing so. So thank you for letting me take up so much time.
Well, thank you. I am going to cut you off. No, no, thank you, Lorraine, for explaining the things. But those are all very good ways of um, helping our spiritual health. And like you mentioned, like they're so diverse, and you may resonate with one or none, but we all, part of our spiritual health is our spiritual journey to find that. So Catherine, I'm going to just ask you what you feel helps with your spiritual health.
Let me unmute myself. Yeah, everything that Lorraine said. Plus, on it's important, I think, to find community, to find your tribe. Your spirit needs other spirits, remembering that we are one. So for you to join up with them and learn from them, to play with them, to work with them, to discuss things with them, to grow with them, because really that's what we're here for, isn't it? We're here to grow. So find your tribe. A lot of people are flopping around without a tribe, without feeling connected to family or to a group of friends. And it's really important once you start, Lorraine even mentioned this, once you start opening up and looking after your spiritual health, other doors open, other people walk through them, and all of a sudden there's people around you that are like-minded. And that's the really important thing, is the like-minded. Choose these people in your tribe very carefully, whether it's family or friends. Share things with them. Make sure that they are people that you can share things with, that you can talk to, that you can say pretty much anything to, just anything that pops into your mind, and they are not going to judge you. They will just take whatever you've said as, wow, that's a cool thought. The people that you want in your tribe are people that are going to be supportive and willing to go exploring with you. And, whether that's a walk in the forest or a new place, or learning how to hug a tree, or sharing ideas, sharing thoughts on spirituality, sharing and feeling comfortable doing that, because there's a lot of people that you cannot talk to about the higher realms of spirituality, because it's just outside of their dogma. People that will be honest with you, that are not afraid to ask you tough questions, because we're not always correct in our journey, and sometimes we just need someone to ask a question. Is that really something that you agree with? This is Lady G, by the way. She's decided it's cuddle time. A tribe will help you out of your shell if you're feeling shy, or if you're an introvert. I am an introvert, so I find it very hard, or have in the past found it very hard to be social, outwardly social. But you don't need to be flamboyantly outwardly social. Just be comfortable with who you are and what environment you're in. And again, that goes back to finding the right people in your tribe. You've got the right people around you when you leave them and you're feeling uplifted and you're feeling comfortable. Then on the other hand, you've got to stay away from the toxic people. And I think we've all met toxic people, those people who make us feel bad about ourselves, that try to get us to do things we don't really want to do, that all they want to do is have a good time, be my partner in crime, or people that criticize you and tend to look down on you and as if you are not good enough. And if you're coming away from a person feeling that way, then that's not a person you should have in your life. And you're allowed to label them in your own mind as being toxic for you. They may not be toxic for someone else, but for you they are. And that's not something that you need to be carrying around in your day-to-day life. If they leave you feeling drained and sad or angry, then you know that they're not good for your spiritual health. Something else you can do, and this is something for me that I found it keeps me level on a day-to-day basis. It's prayer and gratitude. I start every morning with a prayer, and this is one that I will give it to you. It's one that the 12-step programs use, and I borrowed it from them. God, and I name a few other people, entities. Grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Let me walk on your path in your light. Please show me the way. That's how I start my day, every day. And then before I go to bed at night, I do my gratitude list. We forget to be grateful, I think, and to be spiritually healthy and to feel satiated, to know that you have enough, that you are being looked after. Do your gratitude list. Then that was a hard one for me when I first started doing it. And I started out with, I'm glad the sky is blue. I'm glad I can hear the birds sing. I'm glad I can hear. I'm glad I can see. I am very thankful that I have this nice, warm, snuggly bed to sleep in. I'm grateful that I have a little cat in my lap that's purring. I'm very, just anything that makes you happy. And just as you put your head on the pillow at night, do your grateful list. So start in the morning with a prayer, start at night with a thank you, which is the shortest prayer of them all, isn't it? Just thank you. So yeah, live today with gratitude. Start with a prayer. And I like to pick a card in the morning too. And I actually use one of Janice's decks. So in the morning, I let my pendulum pick a card for me. And that's my card that gives me guidance for the day. Yeah, that's, was I supposed to cover anything else? Hard to tell with cat on my lap here.
Your hobbies and creativity.
Oh, hobbies and creativity. Creativity is something extremely spiritual. And the creativity, hobbies, of course, brings creativity. And whether that's knitting or basket weaving or jewelry making, for me, it was jewelry, is jewelry. It can be gardening, it can be studying herbs, or whatever turns your crank. Do something. Creativity. How do I explain this? Creativity comes down from the higher powers, from the universe. There's a spot where there's, I like to call it the Akashic Records or the library. It's where all things that have ever been done are stored there. All the information that you ever need is there. So when you're creating something, when you just don't know quite how to get it exactly the way the picture in your head is, all of a sudden it'll dawn on you, and that dawning on you is the information being downloaded from above. So definitely start something creative. It will hook you into your higher power, to the universal energies. You'd be amazed at what you can do. And there's a pride and a confidence that's built in you when you feel that pride, of having hobbies, and especially creative hobbies. Um, yeah, it's the energy that comes from universal power, and you're tapping right into it when you're doing creative things. Um, I find, especially with working with crystals, and I do a lot of working with crystals, I'll think, what is it that my customers really need? And I know that because they stand in front of my booth at the markets, and you'll notice that one week there'll be a bunch of really broken-hearted people. Well, these people need the energy to heal their hearts, and there are crystals for that. So I'll make a bracelet that, well, I've got the happy heart bracelet, which is meant to, it's all crystals, meant to heal the heart. And to me, that energy, that creative energy that goes into it, well, of course, I also am a Reiki master. So of course it's all the Reiki energy that I put into the crystals, and the crystals themselves. So yeah, creative energy. It will help you tie right into your spiritual energy, and keep you nice and healthy. Back to you, Janice.
Thank you. And thank you, Lady G, for making your entrance there too. We wouldn't have this if we didn't have Zoom. So I would say that nothing will change if we change nothing. So I want you to look at your daily practices. And I also don't feel that it needs to be so rigid that you won't bend or change them a little bit too. Because one thing I found when I went to church all the time was when we wanted to introduce a new hymn, for example, or maybe an old hymn but a different tune, there were some people that didn't want to change at all because this was the way we always did it at this time during this certain time of year, and we couldn't do it any other way. So watch that you don't get so tight in your own spiritual practice that you don't allow yourself to try a new meditation. You don't try to maybe meditate a different time of day, or maybe you do something else in there too. Because if it starts to become just a routine and you're not really paying attention to it, you may be losing your connection to it. So that was just a little bit on that. Also start to look at what reading material you have on hand. And I know that's almost becoming a thing of the past anymore. People don't really pick up a book so much to read, but just think about what you're scrolling through in the course of a day through your Facebook and Instagram, or just surfing the internet with no real destination in mind or purpose. And how much time is spent watching television, that it might be kind of a cool show, but there's just an hour gone by. And what did that really do for your life? What if you were to take that time, or at least part of it, to read positive, inspiring books, articles, or blogs? Should you feel you cannot take time to read, why not use an audiobook, a podcast, and of course, events like this take part in? This gets that gray matter in your head working. It gets you thinking, asking questions, looking for answers. And not everything you read is going to resonate with you, but it stays there, it gets you thinking. And I think that's the big thing, is that we need to be okay with asking questions and seeking out the answers. And that helps you on your path to find your own truth, what's true to you. And that will help with that uneasiness that can sometimes come when we know we need to be on a spiritual journey. We know we need to be doing something, and yet we're allowing our ego to stop us, or we make excuses for everyday events to be stopping us, when really it's up to us. So don't be afraid to ask the questions and seek out what is true to you. It begins putting positive suggestions into your subconscious where there might have been negativity or memories from the past that are only holding you back. Those are the very reasons that I started with meditation classes, that I wrote articles for magazines, online magazines. That I have a blog, a podcast. I wrote 2 books. Those were all with sharing things that I have learned for other people. And that's what I suggest to my clients and to you here too. Not that you have to read my book, but I'd love it if you did. Make it happen in Sally's closet. And it's allowing that creativity, as Catherine mentioned, on my part to flow in designing cards and meditations and workshops. But it's a way for us all to increase our spiritual health and learn from it. Then there's journaling, which goes hand in hand with that. It's very helpful in your healing and nurturing, especially if you feel you're working through a particular challenge, or to just simply write down your opinions on something maybe you've read or listened to. And again, that gets it out of here and onto paper. And that's especially good when you're working through what you would consider a problem or an issue in your life. You're trying to sort things out. And make this just for you. This is between yourself and your higher self. This is what you use that book for. That's what you use your journaling for. Another great thing is if you're working on forgiveness. That's a huge topic, but it's extremely important in our life. The key here is to realize that forgiveness is not about saying something or someone that hurt you, that it doesn't matter anymore and it's all okay. What it is saying is to understand that everything that happens in our life does truly happen for a reason at a particular moment in time. People that were involved, yourself and the other people included, were doing the best that they knew at that moment in time, even if it was hurtful, physically or emotional. At that moment in time, they knew nothing else. Your reaction to that, or maybe you were on the end of that. We're not all angels. Sometimes we say or do things we wish we hadn't have. At that moment in time, that's what we were guided, either by ego, most likely if it was a negative thing, or our higher self if we felt we needed to step back. But it is also in the past. So what we need to do now by forgiveness is looking at that. What did I learn from that? What positive thing can I take from that negative experience? What helped me to get to where I am? I'm here. That was then. I'm here now. What did I learn from that helped me get here? So journaling can help you if you're sorting through all of that. You write all those feelings down and you'll be surprised at what comes through to you, what revelations can come through to you. Doing this when we're grieving is also very good. I quite often have done spiritual coaching with people that are going through a loss, and a loss can be a death of a loved one. It can be a loss of a job. Perhaps you've had you're going through a separation. Even when you want, you still grieve it because maybe you feel guilty about it not working out, or you feel badly for, maybe you feel you've hurt the other person or they've hurt you. All those things are grieving. And so I tell people, write, either journal or write a letter, like, what is it you'd like to say? And try to make it, if you're like me, you might have to do that letter about 3 times. The first time you wouldn't want definitely anybody to see. You let everything come out. Then you try it again. Now, how can I reword this so it's more positive? So that's when you start thinking, what have I learned from this experience? What positive things can I take from this? So then when you've worked through all that, you've got it all written down. What are you going to do with this stuff? If you're like me, it's like, oh, I hope I don't die before I do something with this book, because I don't want anybody to read what's in here. Because this is as you're cleaning out, right? This you're cleaning out your mind closet. You don't necessarily want everybody else to see all that garbage. So what I do is I do a ritual. Take the book outside. I say to myself, I release all things that no longer serve me. I give thanks for the lessons learned, and I'm ready to move forward. And then you burn the book. And it may sound hokey if you're not used to doing anything ritual, but we are ritualistic by nature. All people are. We brush our teeth the same way, put our shoes on the same way. If you don't think you are, just try putting a shoe on a different foot tomorrow morning than what you normally do, and you'll just throws you off getting dressed. It's the whole thing. We are very ritualistic. So if we do something like that, It allows ourselves to let go, to release. And it's a simple thing, but it actually works. Something else is spiritual coaching, which is what I do, but you can also, there are times when maybe you don't feel you, even though you have close friends, maybe it's something you just don't want to talk to them about, or you don't want to talk to your family about. It's very internal, very private, but yet you feel you should talk to someone. That's what spiritual coaches do. We're that safe and sacred place where you can say anything, we listen and guide you. Ultimately, how you handle things and work through things are up to you, but sometimes you need that neutral space, that where you can see things perhaps in a different light. I find that when people come to me, especially those who don't know me at all, I think they feel more so that way because, well, this person doesn't even know me, so I'm just going to say all this stuff here, and it's not like she knows my mom and my dad and all this sort of thing. And I'm also a certified hypnotherapist, so through spiritual coaching, I also find hypnosis can be very beneficial because it helps to go into what's really the problem. Sometimes people, they know something's wrong but can't quite pinpoint it. But in hypnosis, you get into that subconscious mind where all your cell memories kept, and you're able to see perhaps things that you didn't even know were bothering you before. Meditation doesn't have to be complicated. Simply set aside a few minutes every day, and even if it's only for a few moments of deep breathing, it's a start. There's no right or wrong. You have to be comfortable with it, and you have to just basically give yourself that time to relax. It's actually been shown that 15 minutes of meditation can relax the body the same as 3 hours of deep sleep. So that, I'm not saying replace your sleep, but we know that we heal during sleep. So through meditation, we can also have that healing as well. So again, we mentioned earlier about finding your tribe. So if you feel you want to meditate with others, things like again, myself, once a month, I have a healing circle where I invite people to come. Programs like Insight Timer, which you can find at insighttimer.com, where there's 4,500 approved teachers on there. So you're bound to find somebody that you'd like to meditate with. So there's lots of ways to go about it. And it's, to me, that has been the most important thing that I have found in my spiritual practice, has been meditating. So speaking of that, we are going to meditate. Oh, it's 8 o'clock. So it'll be a very short one. I'm sorry. Is everybody okay with staying to do your meditation? Okay, perfect. So make yourself comfortable and we will begin. So when you feel like you're making your nest, just close your eyes. And together, let's take 3 very deep, slow breaths in through the nose, and then ever so gently exhale slowly through the mouth. Feel your body relax as you exhale. Breathe in deeply again. Hold for just a moment and then slowly exhale. One more deep breath in, feeling the coolness of the air as it passes through your nose. Then feel the warmth of your breath crossing your lips as you exhale, releasing and letting go. Now bring your awareness to your breathing, not trying to control it in any way. Also be aware of your stillness, that moment between your inhalation and your exhalation. Should you become distracted during the meditation, ever so gently, bring your attention to your stillness, where you will once again find the peace and calm. And just breathe. Now, on your next exhalation, bring your awareness all the way down to your feet. Imagine, if you can, that they're planted firmly on the ground and you feel the warmth of the earth and the softness of the grass beneath your feet. And when you exhale again, imagine roots going down from the bottom of your feet, traveling through the earth until they go all the way to the very center of the earth and wrap themselves around a beautiful black onyx. And now when you breathe in, you draw up shiny black light from the very center of the earth, up the roots of your feet and into your body. This is the healing light of Mother Earth. And it moves quickly up your legs, filling your body, down your arms, your hands, your fingertips, up your throat and neck and into your head. Beautiful, shiny black light. The healing energy of Mother Earth. Allow it at this moment in time to absorb into itself any physical pain, any emotional pain, without really even identifying what that is. Just say, I'm ready to let it go. And imagine this beautiful light observing it all and absorbing it all. You may even want to send it to a part of your body that perhaps is under stress or pain. And just see it all going into this light. Then you look up and there's a beautiful golden light coming down from the universe, and it gently touches the top of your head. Now when you breathe in, you draw in this beautiful golden light. And it begins to move slowly down your head. And as it does, it ever so gently and lovingly pushes the black light down and back out the bottoms of your feet, sending this black light back to the earth, taking with it all the pain and stress. And this golden light is warm and soothing, and it flows down your neck, releasing all the muscles there as it spreads across your shoulders, down your arms, your hands, and fingertips. It moves down your chest, and you feel your heart become lighter. It moves down your back, and it warms all the muscle groups there as it moves around your spine, down your hips, your legs, and to your feet, until all the black light is gone and your body is filled with this warm golden light. And you breathe, and it feels good. And you relax even further. Then before you is the pure white light of the divine, pure love. And as you breathe, the light comes in and surrounds you. You can feel it as it gently touches your skin, tingly and vibrant. You feel protected with this light around you. And you know that it will stay with you long after this meditation. We simply need to breathe, to believe it is there and to draw it in. You feel connected to it because you are. Now you find yourself in a beautiful place, on a warm, sandy beach by the sea. It's a beautiful day. You feel the warmth of the sun as it kisses your face, the gentle breeze brushing through your hair, rustling the leaves of the nearby trees. And you notice that the waves are rolling in and out, in a slow, even rhythm. That's when you notice it comes in with your inhalation and the waves go out in time with your exhalation, connecting you to nature with the rhythm of the earth, and it feels good. You begin to walk along the beach, feeling the warmth of the sand beneath your feet. It feels good here. Good to let yourself go, relax, and simply to be. You find a spot where you can sit comfortably and gaze out at the sea. Your breath one with the tide, and you feel more and more relaxed. It is in this space where you can receive clarity and peace. And you ask yourself, are there fears and worries that I have in my mind? Are there regrets, remorse, anger, and hurt that are tucked away? Perhaps I have not explored in a long, long time. You allow these memories, past, present, and worries of the future, to manifest before you like shadows. Now is the time to face them and to see that they are still attached to you by a cord. You notice that some cords are thin while others are thicker. All these things are attached to you, many of them weighing you down. It is so peaceful in this place, and you know that you can relax and focus by using your breath and your intention. So now is the time to release these things that no longer serve you. Allow yourself to look past all these thoughts that have gathered on the beach in the form of shadows. See beyond them to a beautiful, shining being of light that is walking towards you. Just seeing it makes you feel so much better because you know that it brings you help, love, healing to you. It moves through all the darkness as though it wasn't even there, through all the darkness that has surrounded you. And it presents you with a large, sparkling sword made from beautiful pink rose quartz. The light is reflected off the rose quartz stone, sending rays of soft pink around you. You feel the light in this sword as you are guided to hold it securely in your hands. Unlike man-made swords that are designed to cut and harm others, this sword is made with pure love. You are reminded that what we send out comes back to us. We cannot heal by inflicting more pain. Only through love can healing begin. In a moment, you are going to take the sword, and with forgiveness, you will cut the cords that are attached to you. But before you do so, look at all the attachments that have come forward. See the cords, short and long, new and old, and follow them. Then repeat as you look at the shadow. I thank you for the lessons that I have learned. I release all remorse and grievances. I send love, light, and healing for you and for me. Namaste. You take the sword and sever all cords with light, love, and healing, filling the air with beautiful, soft pink light. You can feel the change in the energy around you becoming lighter and calmer, and it feels like a great weight has been lifted as you leave these shadows behind. Continue to cut all the cords until it is all done. Perhaps you can do it with one single swift blow of the sword. You continue to cut the cords until all are done. And once more, you are alone here on this beach. Once more, feeling the warmth around you. Being aware of the rhythm of the water, of the sea going in and out. And you bring your awareness back to the softness of the sand beneath your feet and how your body feels. You draw your awareness from the top of your head all the way down to the soles of your feet, sensing a wave of deep relaxation move through your body. Now be aware of your breathing as you did at the beginning of the meditation. And you take in a long, slow, deep breath. And exhale with a sigh. Do this once more, being more aware of your physical body this time as you breathe in. Now, if you're comfortable in doing so, I would invite you to end this meditation with me with the sound of Om on your next exhalation. Breathing in. Om. You may wish to sit for just a moment before slowly opening your eyes and coming back to the space.